Okay, I want to tell a little story about this guy I met once and this thing that happened. Okay, so it's 2010. I'm in the army and I'm home on leave and I'm chilling with Ashley this one day. And occasionally, we would go and pick up one of her friends. She introduced me to these people, whatever. So this one day, we go to Copeg and we pick up this guy she knows named Frankie. And I'd never met him before, hadn't seen him since, but this one time we're chilling with Frank. He was a cool guy. I had no issues with him. Definitely somebody I would have chilled with again. And we go from Copeg all the way out to Center Moriches. For those of you who don't know, haven't heard my Rosanna story, you could see the treetops. That was the first place I lived when I moved out of the house. And we're chilling at this little spot down by the water. And, we chilled out there a bunch of times, no problem. But for some reason, some Karen fucking faggot decides to call the cops on us. Like there's anything wrong with just parking on a street and hanging out. But people don't like that. People can't mind their own business. People like to call the cops on kids. So, a couple cop cars show up. And they're like, what are you doing here? Blah, blah, blah. We're like, we're just hanging out. And of course, cops don't like that answer. Hanging out is not an acceptable answer to what are you doing here. And it's always followed with, okay, I understand that. You can't hang out here. Kids got to get going. Get out of here. All right. And, we had been to Wendy's, right? Right before we went to Center Moriches. And we're sitting there eating like our fries and our chicken nuggets or whatever. Like we'd mention that to the cops that we come from Wendy's and they could see the food in the car. And the cop's like, yeah, okay, eat your little Wendy's and then get on out of here, all right? You can't hang out down here. Neighbors don't like it. It's like, whatever. So the cops take off. And then Frank, after that, asked me if I could buy him a keg of beer. He's like 17 or 18 at the time. Ashley was only 18. And I'm like, okay, fine, whatever. He gives me the money. He pays for it. But I go into 7-Eleven and I buy it. And we take this keg, put it in the back seat. And I don't even know. Nah, it wasn't open. We were planning on drinking out of it later. Well, they were. I didn't really drink beer. But anyways, we start driving. We leave Center Moriches, and we're like, fuck it, let's go out to Montauk. I hadn't been out there in a while. I rarely went out to the Hamptons or Montauk. Because when you live in like Western Long Island, like Western Suffolk, Nassau, there's no reason to go out there because literally every single thing you could get in the Hamptons, you could find in the rest of Long Island. From beaches to theaters, concerts, restaurants. There is no reason to go to the Hamptons. None. I'm not driving 2 hours in traffic to do something I can do in Deer Park. It's stupid. But every once in a while it's cool. And it's already like 3 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, we had some late nights. It's like, okay, well, there's no traffic. Fuck it. So, after already getting stopped by the cops once that night, I'm driving on Montauk Highway. All of a sudden, I see lights behind me. Oh, fuck. Oh, no. What are you... And even though the keg wasn't open, I think they also had a couple of cans of beer that we were too stupid to actually throw out, so they were still in the back seat. So now I got the cops coming up to my car. 2 underage kids in the back seat who already been drinking. Like, fuck. Oh, all I need is a summons for, like, facilitating underage drinking. Look if I don't go to jail for this shit. And, no, this was 2009. This was right before I went to Iraq. And the cops, like, shining their flashlight around. Like, what are you doing? Where are you going? I'm like, I'm going to Montauk. She looks at her watch. At 3:30 in the morning? you're going to Montauk? I'm like, yeah, I'm in the military, I'm in the army, and I'm about to be shipped out to Afghanistan in another month. That was a lie. I was going to Iraq, of course. But in 2009, Afghanistan was the worst deployment. It had flip flopped. So that just sounded better. And she's like, okay, let me see your military ID. I show it to her. She's like, okay, I understand. Thank you for your service. Good luck on your deployment. And somehow she lets us go, right? Even though she looked right at Ashley and Frank, asked me if they'd been drinking. She was a little stupid. Didn't even bother to ask them. She's like, have your friends been drinking? I said, no. And she buys this, right? Like, wow. So, some miracle, we get out of that one. Second time in like an hour, we've been pulled over. And I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm not having this happen a third time. Get rid of the fucking keg. And Frank's like, all right, fine, whatever. It's just a keg. Fuck it, throw it out. So I fucking tossed the keg out the window. We're driving like 65 on Montauk Highway. Just throw it on the side of the road. No more keg. And then we go all the way out to Montauk. Like the town of Montauk. Now, I'd been running low on gas, but I'm like, whatever. I'll just stop at a gas station. Because every gas station on Long Island pretty much is 24 hours. Except in the Hamptons. And since I never went out there, like I said, I forgot this little fact. Yeah. I'd never run out of gas before. Because if you run out of gas on Long Island, you're a fucking idiot. I don't know how you pull that off with a gas station like every block. But yeah, never happened. So I'm almost at Montauk Point. And then I realize, holy shit, I really got to go get gas. Because I'm like on E. So I start driving to find a gas station. And like I said, they're all closed. And I'm like, well, maybe I'll find one where you could put your credit card in the pump and it'll let you pay. No, apparently they didn't do that. Not in that area. I don't know why not. What's the big deal? It's not like I'm going to steal gas when there's nobody there. But it kept rejecting my card. Like, pump closed. Fuck. So I go to the next gas station. My tank gets like emptier and emptier and emptier. God damn it, I'm going to run out of gas in the middle of nowhere. Like 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. Then finally we get far enough west that we found an open gas station and got gas. After like 6 or 7 failed attempts. Used my card at a closed gas station. And then we start driving back from the Hamptons. And at a certain point, I remembered Frank and a keg. I'm like, well, this guy paid like $20 for this keg. I kind of wasted this guy's money by throwing it out. I got to give him another one, make up for it. But I didn't even like tell him this. I just parked at a random 7-Eleven, went inside and bought a keg. And I get back, I put it in the back seat. I'm like, yeah, here you go. He says, what's this, bro? Like, it's a keg. I'm replacing the one we threw out. Like, what do you mean? Like, I'm like, here's a new keg. This is yours. He's like, nah, bro, I live with my grandpa. He'd fucking kill me if I brought this in the house. He doesn't even know I drink. Guess this guy was really strict on him or something. And I'm like, well, what the fuck am I going to do with this? I don't even drink beer. Now I have this full-size, like, party keg. I don't even think it was a mini keg. That shit was big, right? I got, like, gallons of beer now. What am I going to do with this shit? So I ended up going back to Fort Drum when my leave was over. And because beer, I guess, doesn't really go bad. As long as the keg's not open and doesn't go flat, you could leave that shit out for like weeks. So I ended up giving it to Barledge when I got back to the barracks. He's like, free beer, Levy? Seriously? Give me that shit. I could definitely use a free keg. Thank you very much, Levy. But yeah, so that was my little story about the time I was with Ashley. We picked up her friend Frank and ended up driving out to Center Moriches, hitting the cops called on us. Then, like half an hour later, getting pulled over by the cops again. Despite them being drunk, the cop didn't notice. And almost running out of gas and then buying Frank a keg that he didn't even use and I was stuck with. What a time. What a fucking time.